Some of Pokemon's most popular cards are ridiculously expensive. The Rayquaza VMAX Alt-Art, the Gengar VMAX Alt-Art, the Umbreon VMAX Alt-Art. These are some of the coolest cards in the hobby, but if you don't want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on one card, I've got a better option. Today, I'm finding a cheaper alternative for some of Pokemon's biggest chase cards, and at the end, I'm picking the 3 alternatives I'd actually buy myself. Let's start with one of the biggest chase cards from Evolving Skies, the Rayquaza VMAX Alt-Art. This card is amazing, the artwork and just the overall appearance. But if you don't want to spend that much on one Rayquaza card, there are a few other options. First, we have the Rayquaza GX from Celestial Storm. This is an older card, and I think it's a really cool alternative if you only care about having a Rayquaza rather than just specifically owning the alt-art. Then there's the Rayquaza VMAX from Evolving Skies. You're still getting the same Pokemon, the same set, and the VMAX card. And finally, there's a Rayquaza VMAX from Crown Zenith. Personally, if I wanted a cheaper Rayquaza to add to my collection, the Rayquaza GX would be my choice. Next up is the Greninja EX card from Twilight Masquerade. This card exploded in popularity because of the artwork, and it's become one of the biggest chase cards from the Scarlet and Violet era. If you don't want to pay the price for the SIR, there are some other options. There's the Greninja EX promo, which gives you the same Pokemon for much cheaper. And then there's the Greninja V from Fusion Strike. I actually think this is a really good alternative because Fusion Strike is a popular set and the artwork on this card is really good. If I had to choose one though, I'd go with the Greninja EX promo because recently I've been liking Midair again. Now, let's talk about the Giratina V from Lost Origin. This is another card where the alt art has become extremely desirable, but instead of looking for another modern Giratina, we're gonna go back. I'm talking about the Giratina from Platinum. This is obviously a completely different style of card, and that's why I like it. You're getting an older Giratina card with a completely different appeal, so if you're someone who cares about the Pokemon rather than owning the exact alt art, this is definitely one I'd keep an eye on. Next is the Lugia V from Silver Tempest. The alt art is one of the most popular Lugia cards ever, but there are still cheaper ways to add Lugia to your collection. You could go with the regular Lugia V from Silver Tempest, which give you the same Pokemon from the exact same set, or you could go with the Lugia GX from Lost Thunder. Although, my pick here would have to be the Lugia V from Silver Tempest. Next up is one of my favorite Pokemon, Gengar. The Gengar VMAX Alt-Art from Fusion Strike is one of the most recognizable modern Gengar cards, but there are cheaper ways to get a really cool Gengar. One option is the Gengar VMAX from Fusion Strike. You're still getting the VMAX version from the same set, but you're losing the art style the alt-art has. And then there's the Mega Gengar EX from Ascended Heroes. I'm talking about the attack rare, not the one that's almost $1,000. If you like the newer Mega Evolution cards, this could actually be the more interesting choice. So if you don't have money for the Gengar VMAX Alt-Art, I would personally look at the Mega Gengar EX instead. Now, let's talk about the Mega Dragonite EX from Ascended Heroes. This is one of the newer cards on the list, so instead of looking for another Mega Dragonite, we can go back to the Dragonite GX from Dragon Majesty. This is a completely different era and a completely different style of card, but just like the Gengar, you can instead get the Mega Attack Rare, which is personally the one I would choose. Now we have probably the hardest card on this list to replace. The Umbreon VMAX Alt-Art from Evolving Skies, and this card has become one of the biggest modern chase cards, but there are actually several alternatives. First, the Umbreon V from Brilliant Stars Trainer Gallery. This is a much cheaper way to get a really cool Umbreon artwork, and it's still a card that collectors recognize, even though it's still kind of expensive. Then we have Umbreon from Dark Explorers. Instead of buying another modern Umbreon, you're just getting a different card that has a different kind of appeal. And finally, there's the Umbreon GX from Sun and Moon era. So which one would I choose? I'd personally go with the Umbreon V from the Trainer Gallery. And finally, Charizard. Of course Charizard had to be on this list. The Charizard from 151 was one of the most iconic cards from the entire Scarlet and Violet era. But if you don't want to pay the premium for it, there are a ton of other cards to choose from. You've got Lance's Charizard V, you've got Charizard VMAX, and you've got 2 different Charizard EX cards from Obsidian Flames. Personally, I think I would choose the Charizard VMAX, but both of the Obsidian Flame cards are really nice too, but I think they're a little expensive. So because of that, I'm choosing the VMAX. I really enjoy the artwork on this card, but after looking at all these cards, here are my 3 favorite alternatives. The Umbreon V, this one stands out because it's still an Umbreon card people want, but you can get it for less than $100. Next is the Gengar Mega Attack Rare. I already picked this one up in Japanese, and overall, I just like how the card looks. And last, the Charizard VMAX. I've been keeping an eye on this card for a while, because like I said, I like how he looks in the card. Well, that's all the cards I have for today, so I'll see you guys later.